श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः। वागीशाद्यास्तु मनसः सर्वार्थानामुपक्रमे यन्नत्वा कृतकृत्यास्यस्तन्नमामि गजाननं। शारदा शारदां भोजवदना वदनाम्बुजे सर्वदा सर्वदास्माकं सन्निधिं सन्निधिं क्रियात्। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्परां। शङ्कारूपेण मच्चित्तं पङ्कीकृतमभूद्यया किङ्करीयस्य सामाया शङ्कराचार्यमाश्रये। प्रह्लादवरदो देवो यो नृसिंहः परो हरिः नृसिंहोपासकं नित्यं तन्नृसिंहगुरुं भजे। श्रीसच्चिदानन्दशिवाभिनव्यनृसिंहभारत्यभिधान्यतीन्द्रान् विद्यानिधीन् मन्त्रनिधीन् सदात्मनिष्ठान् भजे मानवशम्भुरूपान्। सदात्मध्याननिरतं विषयेभ्यः पराङ्मुखं नौमि शास्त्रेषु निष्णातं चन्द्रशेखरभारतीं। विवेकिनं महाप्रज्ञं धैर्योदार्यक्षमानिधिं सदाभिनवपूर्वं तं विद्यातीर्थगुरुं भजे। अज्ञानाञ्जाह्नवीतीर्थं विद्यातीर्थं विवेकिनां सर्वेषां सुखदं तीर्थं भारतीतीर्थमाश्रये। विद्याविनयसम्पन्नं वीतरागं विवेकिनं वन्दे वेदान्ततत्त्वज्ञं विधुशेखरभारतीम्। यस्य निःश्वसितं वेदाः यो वेदेभ्यो अखिलं जगन्निर्ममे तमहं वन्दे विद्यातीर्थमहेश्वरम्। With namaskaras, Sashtanga pranamas to the Padapadmas of the Ubhay Jagat Gurus, to Sharadamba, we meet again to talk about the meanings of some Sandhyavandanam mantras. So, I thought it appropriate that we pick up from where we last left off. So, one of the mantras that we last talked about was Ojosi Sahosi Valamasi Vibhrajosi Deva Nandha Manamasi Vishwamasi Vishwa Sarvamasi Sarva Yaravibhorom. So, we stopped there. So there is a continuation of that mantra. One note before I continue. So as I said before, the common versions of these Sandhyavandana mantras are found in the Mahanarayana Upanishad, which is an appendix to the Taittiriya Upanishad. We can think of it like that. So some of these mantras are not found there, but they are there in many of the pathas. As we said, there are many pathas of the Mahanarayana Upanishad. There's an Andhra Patha, there's a Dravida Patha, there's a Karnataka Patha. So there are many pathas. There is one Vyakhya that is found. It is printed as a Parishashta Vyakhya along with the Sayana Bhashya. So within that they have taken some more mantras that come quite commonly across all of the general Sandhyavadanas in folk today. So some of the mantras that we look at today will be taken from that, and others will be from the Sayana Bhashya. I will let you know when the mantras that are being taken from the Sayana Bhashya come. For now though, we are looking at this one Vyakhya for the mantra from the Parishashta Bhaga. So the mantra here is, after Abhibhorom, Gayatri Mavahayami, Savitri Mavahayami, Saraswati Mavahayami, Chandrashena Mavahayami, Shriya Mavahayami, Gayatriya Gayatri Chando Vishwamitra Rashihe, Savita Devata, Agnirmukham, Brahma Shiraha, Vishnu Hridayam, Rudrashikha, Prithvi Yonihi, प्राणापानव्यानोदार समाना सप्राणा श्वेतवर्णा सांख्यायन सगोत्रा गायत्री चतुर्विंशत्यक्षरा त्रिपदा षट्कुक्षिः पंचशीर्षोपनयने विनियोगः. This is part of the Avahana mantras. So when we are doing Avahana of Gayatri before actually doing the Anganyasa and Karanyasa and all of that, this is the mantra that we tell to call upon the Devata. So if we understand this mantra properly, we will actually know a lot about the nature of Gayatri. So if you remember, in the last episode, when we said Ayatu Varade Devi or Varada Devi Aksharam Brahma Sammitam, we basically said that this Gayatri is Aksharam Brahma Sammitam. Gayatri is none other than Brahma, which is Sammitam, discussed, discerned and decided by the Upanishads. So basically this Gayatri is none other than Brahman, and the Upasana of Gayatri reflects that, which is why it is Gayatri Upasana that has been given to us to be done 3 times a day. So what are we saying here? So Gayatri Avahayami. I invoke the Devata Gayatri. I call the Devata Gayatri to me. Savitri Avahayami. Savitrim. Savitur Brahma Sakshatkarituh Jnana Prakashakasya Paramatmanaha Imam Avahayami. Savitri means that relating to Savitra. So that Shakti that relates to Savitra, I call upon that. I invoke that Shakti. So who is Savitra? Very nicely the Vyakhyakarya here has written, Brahma Sakshatkarayituhu Jnana Prakashasya. It is the light of knowledge that allows Brahman to be known. So Savita literally means the progenitor, that which causes something to be born. We look at that when we talk about the Gayatri Mantra also in this session. So Savituhu means that which causes to be born. What is this particular Devata being causing to be born? This Devata is causing Brahmajnana to be born in the minds of sadhakas. So we invoke that Shakti of Paramatma that allows for knowledge to spring in the mind. Saraswati Mavahayami is the next one. Saraswati Brahma Jaladharana Prashchotanabhyam Vedaha Saramsi Tanmayatva Tadvatim Saraswatim Chaturvimshatyakshara Mantra Rupam Avahayami. I call upon Saraswati. Saraswati means that which has Sarasvati, like Gunavati, Saraswati. Saras usually means water. But what does it mean here? So, the Vedas hold Brahman the way Saras, a pond holds water. So therefore, here the word Saras is used to mean Veda, because Brahman is known through the Vedas. Just as water is held in a pond, the Vedas hold the meaning or the knowledge of Brahman. So the Saras in this case are the Vedas. And Saraswati means that Vedamayi, that Devata that possesses the Vedas, or that is made up of the Vedas. So that Devata is Saraswati. The Devata that is the summation of Vedic knowledge is Saraswati. So we call upon that Devata to us. And then Gayatri Mavahayami, Savitri means Saraswati Mavahayami. Chanda Rishi Avahayami. I call upon the Chanda Rishis. Who are these Chanda Rishis? Tarangani Chanda Rishin. Gayatriyaha Sarvamantramayattvena Sarvari Chandamsi Sarvascha Rishin Devatascha Sarvaha Avahayami. So, as we said before, right? So, Gayatri Chandasam Mata is one of the meanings of the mantras that we talked about before. So, Gayatri is a mantra, is a chandas, right? It is a particular meter. There are many Vedic meters, as we said before, Ushnik, Brahati, Anushtup, Trishtup. These are all Vedic meters that all originate from Gayatri. So, these all exist in a subtle form within Gayatri. So, when we invoke the Rishis of the Gayatri mantra, we are actually invoking the Rishis of all the Vedic meters that exist. So that is why here we say Chanda Rishin Avahayami. I call upon all of the Chanda Rishis that exist. And not just that, here Veda says, or the Vyakhya here says that I call on all the Rishis, all the Devatas and all the meters that exist. Because for any mantra that we do, even Mantra Shastra, for example Panchakshari, Sri Vidya, whatever Ganapati mantra, Ashtakshari mantra, whatever mantra it be, you have a Rishi, Devata and Chandas. You have to do smarana of those. You have to first contemplate on those ones, or just think of them once at least before you start the japa of any mantra. We have it, we say Asya, whatever mantrasya, blank Rishi, blank Devata, blank Chandaha, and then you go through the Anganyasa and the Karanyasa. So we are not just thinking of the Rishis here, but we are thinking of all the meters that exist, all the Rishis of all the mantras that exist, right? So all mantras need to be in some chandas, in some meter or the other. So we are now doing avahana of all the meters, all the chandases that exist, all the Rishis. So all the Rishis who are the drashtas of all those mantras that exist, as well as all the Devatas. So all the Devatas of those mantras, we are doing avahana of all of them as we prepare ourselves to do japa of Gayatri. So that is Chanda Rishin Avahayami. Then we have Shriyam Avahayami. Shriyam Avahayami means Shriyam Gayatrim Sarvavedamayim Tasmat Sarvavedanam Shriyam Avahayami. So this Gayatri, as we said before, is made up of all the Vedas. Right? So the word Shri is used in many places in Veda to refer to Veda. Richassama Niyajogam Shri Sahi Shri Ramrita Satam. So the Rik, Sama and Yajur mantras, or those Rik, Sama and Yajur Vedas, are termed as Shri, Sahi Shri. So therefore, Shriyam Avahayami means I do Avahana of all the Vedas. So we did Saraswati Avahayami, we did Avahana of all the knowledge, the Vidya of the Vedas. Now we are doing Avahana of the Vedas themselves. And then we have Gayatriya, Gayatri Chandaha, Vishwamitra Rishihi, Savita Devata, Agnir Mukham. So here when it comes to the Gayatri Devata specifically, now we are starting the specific aspects of the Gayatri mantra. So we are saying Gayatriya Gayatri Chandaha. So the chandas of this mantra is the Gayatri chandas. the chandas that has 8 letters to a pada and 3 padas in this. We get that tripada, we'll get that later. Then the Rishi is Vishwamitra Maharshi, who is the mantra drashta. He is the Rishi that through his tapas saw this Veda mantra and then presented it to mankind for their betterment. Then Savita Devata. So who is the Devata that is being worshipped through this mantra, or that is being praised through this mantra? Savita. Savita is Savita. Sarvam Prasuvanaha Paramatma Devata. Tanmantratvat. So Sarvam Prasuvanaha, as we said, Savitra. Savitra means that which gives rise to. Right? So the Devata, the Brahman that gave rise to this entire cosmos is the Devata that is being worshipped. Savita also means Surya, because Surya is the person, the entity by which life on this earth is sustained. Right? So yeah, it is in Bhagavad Gita, also in Prashnatraratmalika. Ko hi Jagat Bharta. The answer is Pusha. Who is the sustainer of this world? The sustainer of this world is Surya. So that is why the Savitra Devata is also envisioned as Surya. But the Savitra Devata here is clearly Paramatma. Clear Paramatma. So Savita Devata Agnir Mukham. So Agnir Mukham. So Agni, as we said, the Agni Devata is the Mukham. He is like the mouth of this Gayatri mantra. Then we have Brahma Shiraha Vishnu Hridayam Rudra Shikha. So Brahma is the Shiras, the head. Vishnu is the Hridayam, the heart, and Rudra is the Shikha. So that is why you said Tatsavita Brahmatmane Shirase Swaha, Tatsavita Brahmatmane Hridayam Varyanyam Vishnuatmane Shirase Swaha Bhargo Devasi Rudrapne Shikhaya Vashita is usually how we tell it. But slightly differently here, the Upanishad is giving us a different meaning. So here Brahma is the Shiras, Vishnu is the Hridaya, Rudra is the Shikha. Why is this so? Brahma is the Srishti Karta. He is the first being to pop into existence from Paramatma. Right? So Dhata Purastadyamudajahara, we have that, right? And then Bhutanam Patireka Asit, that is what we have. So that is another one. Hiranyagarbha Samavartata Agre Bhutasya Jatah Patireka Asit. So Agre, in the beginning, Hiranyagarbha being the Prathama Jiva. In some cases it is also taken as Brahma. So that Brahma is the Shiras of this Gayatri mantra, because just as the Shiras comes first in the body, the head comes first in the body, Brahma is the Devata, Brahma, the Chaturmukha Brahma, is the Devata that comes first from Paramatma, because he is the one that needs to create this world. So Brahma Shiraha, Vishnu Hridayam. Vishnu is akin to the heart of the mantra. Why? The heart is what stays inside the body and lends energy and support to the rest of the body. So because Vishnu is the Sthitikarta, he is also seated within the Jagat and provides the energy and the protection needed for this world to stay in balance and to be sustained. So Vishnu is the Hridaya. Rudra is the Shikha, the Layakarta. The Rudra Devata that is in charge of dissolution is the Shikha. Just as they have written very nicely here, just as Tatra Rudraha Shikha, Yatha Shikha Sarvavayavadita, Tatha Rudraha Pralayakaranat, Atha Shikhasthaniyaha. See, the Shikha kind of is, it has nothing to do with the rest of the body. See, every other body part gets in the way of another body part in some way or the other. But nothing even comes close to the Shikha. It is in the back and the top of the head. So, just as the Shikha is very separate and removed from the rest of the body, Rudra is also removed from the Jagat because he does Laya. Right? After he finishes dissolving everything, there is nothing left besides him. So therefore, Rudra is separate from the cosmos. After Pralayasana, Rudra remains distinct from the cosmos, just as the Shikha is quite distinct from the body. So Rudra Shikha, then Prithvi Yonihi. So what does it mean, Prithvi Yonihi? Yonihi means Yonisthaniya, Sarva Prasava Hetutva. The Yoni is the womb, so the cause. So just as Prithvi is the effect from which all life springs, right? So in the list of the Upanishads also you have Akashat Vayu, Vayu Agni, Agni Rabha, you have Prithvi. So that is how the Panchabodhas came. And then you have Prithivya Oshadhayaha, Oshadhebhyaha, Annam, Annat Purushaha. From Prithvi comes the Oshadhis, from Oshadhis come Anna, from Anna comes Purusha, life as we know it. So therefore, Prithvi is the source for all life. So the Yoni, the Bija, Yoni is also called the Bija. The Bija for this mantra, the seed in which the Shakti of this mantra lies, is Prithvi, Bhumi. Because Bhumi itself is the seed for this cosmos. Right? So when we are conceptualizing Gayatri as this Gayatri mantra or this Gayatri jnana is a summation of the knowledge of the cosmos and Brahman, then the root of it is Prithvi, the root from which the cosmos springs forth. Then Pranapana Vyanodana Samana. So Prana, Apana, Vyana, Udana, Samana are the 5 pranas. So based on, it is only one Vayu that is called by these 5 names depending on the work that he is doing. So when he comes out, he is Prana. When he goes down, the Tiryaggamanavan Vayu Apanaha. The Vayu that goes downwards out of the body is called Apana. Then Samano Navi Samstitaha. Then the Vayu that is in the Navi and is responsible for the body working in harmony is called Samana. In that way, Udana, and then Pranapana, Vyana, Udana, Samana. So all of these are 5 pranas. There is one famous shloka, Hridip Prano, Budevana, Samano Navi Samstitaha, all of that is there. So all of these pranas are belonging to which entity? They belong to Gayatri. Pranapana, Vyanodana, Samana, Yasyaha Sa. So then she is Saprana, therefore. Because when we said this is Brahma Vidya, who do the pranas and indriyas belong to? They do not belong to the body because these are distinct from the body, but they are also not the cause of Chaitanya on their own. Right? The indriyas need to be enlivened by something else. So whatever the indriyas are enlivened by, that is to whom the indriyas belong to. So the indriyas are enlivened by Chaitanya. The pranas also do their work because of Chaitanya. And when that Chaitanya is being conceptualized as Gayatri or the Savitri Devata, then we say that all the pranas and the indriyas belong to this Paramatma. Which is why right after that we have Saprana. So we just told the 5 pranas. What is the Saprana? Again, here prana means the indriyas. So we see this in many places in Veda. Tasya prana anutkaravanti. So there is one prana called the Mukhya prana, and then the other pranas in Veda are called the indriyas are referred to by the word pranas. For example, you have Sapta Shirshanya Pranaha. So there are 7 pranas in the head. Sapta Shirshanya Pranaha. There are 7 pranas in the head. What does this mean? Usually you have 5 pranas. Here, because the word prana means indriya, you have it as 2 nostrils, 2 eyes, 2 ears, and a mouth. So there you have the indriyas. So there the word prana, Sapta Shirshanya Pranaha, there the word prana means indriya. So here you have Pranapana Vyanodana Samana. Means all the 5 pranas belong to that Paramatma. Saprana, that is Paramatma called Gayatri. Saprana, the indriyas also belong to this Paramatma called Gayatri. Shvetavarna, she is of the color white. Why? Because she is pure. Shvetavarna, Prathamam Shuddhavana Pradhanatvat. Because she is pure, she is made up of Sattva Guna. When Paramatma takes upon a form, that form is made up of Shuddha Sattva, which is why in many places you will have Shuddha Sattva Mayakritihi. Because all of our bodies, though they are also made up of Maya, and Maya is the root or the cause from which this whole world comes into being. Maya is made up of 3 gunas, and our body also has these 3 gunas. Devata's bodies, or especially the forms that Paramatma takes, are made up of Maya that is Shuddha Sattva Pradhana. So Maya that is predominantly made up of Sattva. Our bodies are predominantly made up of Tamas because they are gross. Bhagavan's bodies are subtle, or the forms that Bhagavan chooses to take, the formless Bhagavan chooses to take, are subtle. So they are mostly made up of Sattva. Sattva's color is white. So therefore she is Shvetavarna. Then she is Sankhyayana Sagotra. Apparently this Gayatri belongs to the Sankhyayana Gotra. What is the Sankhyayana Gotra? A very nice explanation is given here. Sankhyam, Gunasankhyanam Ahuhu. Te Sankhyaha. Sankhyehi iyate, gamyate, prapyate, sarvaguna nirasa, saha Sankhyayanaha Paramatma Brahma, Sanmatram, Sankhyayanena Samanam, Ekam Gotram, Kulam, Udbhavaha, Asyaha Sankhyayana Sagotra, iti. So that is the meaning of this. So what does this mean? So the word Sankhya means to count. So Sankhya is Guna Sankhyana, the counting of qualities. So that which is iyate, that which is obtained through Guna Sankhyana is Sankhyayana. So what does this mean? it means that sarva guna nirasa. It means getting rid of all qualities. So how does this work? Why is counting gunas the means to getting rid of all qualities? So in Vedas, you know, the way that Brahman is explained in most Upanishads is through Nishedhamukha, or as we call it, Atadvyavatti, not this, not this, not this. So by enumerating the qualities or by listing the qualities that Brahman is not, it is easier to arrive to what Brahman is. Arupamasparaṣam agandhavyayam. So it has no form, it has no touch, it has no smell, it has no rasa, it has no taste. So by getting rid of all of these qualities, you end up at a quality-less entity. So that is why Gayatri or Brahman, here Brahman, is attained through the listing out or the enumeration of qualities. So that is Sankhyayana Sagotra, because the knowledge of this Brahman comes out. Sagotra, Gotra is the Kula that you are born in, right? So the Kula is where you are born. So because this knowledge of Brahman is born from the enumeration of qualities, Brahman is Sankhyayana. The knowledge of Brahman is the knowledge of Gayatri. So Gayatri's knowledge is born through the knowledge of Brahman. So therefore Sankhyayana Sagotra is Gayatri. And then Gayatri, Sankhyayana Sagotra, Gayatri, Chaturvimshatyakshara. Gayatri is made up of 24 letters. Tripada, she is made up of 3 lines, 3 padas. The 4th line is for sannyasis to do japa. For brahmacharis and grihasthas, 3 lines are given. So from Tatsavituho to Prachodayat. So these 3 lines, Tripada, Shatkukshihi. Gayatri, Tripada, Shatkukshihi. So she has 6 stomachs. What does this mean? So Shatkukshihi, Shad Vedangani Kukshayaha Asyaha Sarva Veda Rupayaha Sa Shatkukshihi. So as I said, when she said Shriyamavahayam and all that, this Gayatri is also of the nature of all the Vedas. She is Veda Sarupa. So Vedas contain within them the knowledge of the Vedangas, which are then again used to understand the Vedas. The Vedangas are 6 in nature. So because she, as the Vedas, contains the 6 Vedangas within her, she is called Shat Kukshi. Kukshi is stomach. She that has 6 within her stomach, the 6 Vedangas within her. And then Gayatri, Tripada, Shat Kukshi, Panchashirsha. She has 5 heads. What are these 5 heads? Another very nice meaning is given here. Panchashirsha. Chaturnam Vedanam Chatvaraha Upanishadbhagaha Jnana Pratipadiнаha Karmopasana Kandayo Uparistitaha Chatvari Shirashani Shiramsi Tatha Itihasa Purane Panchamo Vedaha Jnana Pratipadakatva Panchamam Shirsha Nasyaha Sa Panchashirsha Iti. So she has 5 heads. 4 of those heads are the Vedas. What is the 5th head? This is a beautiful explanation that we are given, wherein the 5th head is said to be Itihasas and Puranas. Because Itihasas and Puranas teach the same thing that the other 4 Vedas say. Right? Which is why we have Bharata Panchamo Vedaha. Veda Adhyapayamasa Mahabharata Panchaman. So it is said that Vedavyasa Maharshi taught the Vedas along with the 5th, the Mahabharata. So Mahabharata is accorded the status of a Veda in terms of the knowledge that it accords. In the same way, Puranas also, because they are also based on the knowledge contained in the Vedas. Right? That is why we have the famous saying, Itihasa Puranabhyam Vedam Samupabrahmayet Vibhetyalpashritadvedaha Ayam Mam Praharediti. So, Itihasa Puranabhyam, with the help of the Itihasas and the Puranas, Vedam Samupabrahmayet. We should echo, we should very nicely explain what Veda tells us. In fact, Veda becomes scared if someone that does not know Itihasa and Purana properly tries to explain it. Vedaha Alpashritad Vibheti. Veda fears an incompetent person. Why? Ayam Mam Praharediti. Because he will explain me wrongly. So because that is the importance that we have accorded to Itihasas and Puranas in terms of conveying the knowledge that is present in Vedas. So which is why Vedas are the 4 heads, Itihasas and Puranas are the 5th head. So all of these combined are the 5 heads of Gayatri, and then we say Panchashirsha Upanayane Viniyogaha. So this Gayatri Devata that is extolled, or this Savitri Devata that is extolled through the Gayatri mantra is what is used in an Upanayana. Panchashirsha Upanayane Viniyogaha iti dhyatva anena mantrena vatoha upanayane upanita karane viniyogaha ityevam smritva patitva cha Gayatri mantra japet. So we have the Panchashirsha Upanayane. So Panchashirsha means the 4 Vedas. Actually what the Vyakhyakarya said is the 4 Upanishad bhagas of each Veda. So in each Veda there is a section of Upanishad, right? So those 4 combined are the 4 heads, and then The fifth head is the Vedas. So all the Devi that has, the Devata that has been conceptualized in these last few sentences, having done dhyana of that, then we should move on to seeing the rest of the Upanayana that should be done to the Vatu. So this is the Avahana of Gayatri. Now the second mantra that we will look at before I take your leave will be the Gayatri mantra itself. So before we do that, we will look at the pranayama mantras, because Gayatri comes in pranayama, and by talking about pranayama, we will have discussed Gayatri itself. So what are the pranayama mantras? Om Bhuhu, Om Bhuvaha, Om Suvaha, Om Mahaha, Om Janaha, Om Satyam, Om Tatsavitarvarenyam, Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi, Dhiyo Yona Prachodayat, and Om Apo Jyotiraso Amritam Brahma, Bhur Bhuvas Suvarom are the mantras that are given there. So these first few mantras, Om Bhuhu, Om Bhuvaha, Om Suvaha, Om Mahaha, Om Janaha, Om Satyam. So these are all what are called Vyahritis. So these are the 7 lokas, the 7 Urdhva lokas. We have talked about this before, but these are the Urdhva lokas that exist. Bhuradayaha Satyantaha, Satyantaha Loka Pratipadikaha Sapta Vyahritaya. Teshancha Lokanam Pranava Pratipadya Brahmaswarupatva Vivakshaya Pratyekam Pranavaccharanam. So if you notice though, here we tell one Omkara with each of the lokas. So that is to show that each loka is of the nature of Brahman. So basically what you will see in this is, this pranayama process is meant to remind us that everything is Brahman. Everything that you can see and interact with in this world is Brahman. So all the Urdhva lokas are Brahman, is what we are saying. And how do you convey that? Because Brahman is denoted by Omkara, you say Om Bhuhu. So Bhuhu is Om, Bhuhu is Brahman. Om Bhuvaha, that Bhuvarloka is Brahman, it is Om. Om Suvaha, that Suvarloka is Brahman. Om Mahaha, that Maholoka is Brahman. Om Satyam, that Satyaloka is Brahman. So in this way you have all the 7 lokas. And then you have the Gayatri mantra. Tatra Savituhu Devasya Varenyam Bhargaha Tad Dhimahi Yaha Naha Dhiyaha Prachodayat is the Anvaya. So we meditate upon that illustrious tejas of the Savitra Devata. He who may, or he who we pray to propel, or he who we pray to lead our minds, is broadly what this means. So Tasya Savituhu Devasya Varenyam Bhargaha. So we Dhimahi. Dhimahi means we meditate upon the Varenyam Bhargaha. Varenyam means the illustrious, the greatest. Bhargaha. This is a Sakaranta Shabda. Bhargas. Bhargaha, Bhargasi, Bhargamsi. Like that. Sakaranta. If it is Agaranta, it means Shiva. Bhargaha. Bhargaha, Bhargo, Bhargaha. That Akaranta Shabda means Shiva. But Bhargas, Sakaranta Shabda means Tejas, a luster, a light. So that Varenyam Bhargaha, we meditate upon that greatest light. Of whom? Savitur Devasya. So Devasya itself means Prakasha Swarupasya, he who is of the form of Jnana. And what more is he? He is Savitra. He is the Prerakasya. How is he the Preraka? Because he is the Antaryami. So that is what here, this mantra you are looking at the Sayana Bhashya. Prerakasya Antaryaminaha. So he is the Antaryami. What is the Antaryami? So, although Ishvara is present throughout this cosmos, Ishvara is present in a special way in the heart of each living being. That is what you get in Gita as Ishvara Sarvabhutanam Hrideshirjana Tishtati Brahmayan Sarvabhutani Yantrarudhani Maya. That is what you get in Gita. So Ishvara sits in the heart of each living being. And what does he do? Brahmayan Sarvabhutani. He plays with them, he moves them. The way you move a puppet, the way a puppeteer moves a puppet, he moves each prani. And what does he move them by? Does he move them of his own will, or does he move them out of his own likes and dislikes? No, he moves them as per whichever karma that they need to get. So because Ishvara knows all the karma of this world, Ishvara moves all the jivas in such a way that is conducive to all the jivas obtaining their karmas. Yantra Rudhani. And how does he do it? Maya. With the help of his Shakti called Maya, Ishvara as the Antaryami moves all of this. And there is a very famous Antaryami Brahmana that you also have in the Brihadaranyaka. You have Yah Prithivyaam Tishthan, Yah Prithivya Antaraha, Yam Prithivim Naveda, Yam Prithvi Naveda, Yah Prithivim Antaro Yamayati. So Saha Antaryami Amritaha. So you get some vakyas that are like this. So he who is within Prithvi, he who is situated within Prithvi, he who is the essence of Prithvi, he who controls Prithvi from within, he whom Prithvi does not understand. He is the Antaryami, he is Amrita, he is the Paramatma. So there is actually a discussion in the Brahma Sutra also. So this Antaryami, is this a yogi? Because yogis also can enter things. So is this a yogi or is this Brahman? To which the Brahma Sutra Kara says, Badarayana Mahashya says, Antaryami, Adhidevadisha Tadvyapadeshat. He says, Antaryami, Adhidevadisha Tadvyapadeshat. I think it is Tadvyapadeshat. Antaryami, Tadvyapadeshat. Antaryami, Adhidevadisha. So because all of these places, so Sarve Vedaha, all the Vedas, Apaha, all waters, all mantras, all devas, all yajnas, all of these are also described there as being permeated by Brahman. So because this cannot happen to a yogi and because that is only possible for Brahman, it is decided that the Antaryami that the Veda discusses is none other than Brahman. So that is the Antaryami that we are praying to here. So may we meditate upon that Tejas of the Antaryami. And what is it that we want him to do? Yaha, he who, naha dhiyaha, prachodayat. Prachodayat means he who may incite, compel, lead our minds. So what does this mean? Because we have just said, as the Antaryami, he controls the way that all beings move. So what more is there left for him to direct my mind as? There is still some aspect where we do have free will. While some aspects of the world around us are predestined due to our karma, we always have the free will in terms of what karma we do. So what we choose to do is our will. What we end up experiencing is karma. That is the way that the division of fate and free will is in Sanatana Dharma. So even then, what we still ask, even in other places in Vedas, Sanodeva Shubhaya Smritya Sanyunakto. Hiranyagarbham Pashyata Jayamanagam Sanodeva Shubhaya Smritya Sanyunakto. May that Parameshwara give us Shubha Smriti. May he unite us with Shubha Smriti, with proper mind, with a proper intellect, an intellect that is capable of knowing Dharma and Adharma, an intellect that is capable of latching on to higher truths that are taught in the Upanishads. Which is why there is an explanation of this mantra as a shloka. And I will also tell that shloka because those people that have not had Gayatri Upadesha, they can tell this shloka. There is no restriction against telling this shloka. It has all the properties of the mantra and it has none of the restrictions surrounding the mantra. So those people that have had Upanayana, you have to do the Gayatri mantra. Those people that have not had the Upanayana, you can tell this shloka that is also told in Sandhyavandanam very commonly. Yo Devaha Savita Asmakam Dhiyo Dharmadi Gojarah Prerayet Tasya Yad Bhargaha Tadvarenyam Upasmahe. That is the shloka. Yo Deva Savita Asmakam Dhiyo Dharmadi Gojarah Prerayet Tasya Yad Bhargas Tadvarenyam Upasmahe. This is the shloka. So, Yo Deva Savita, that Deva who is Savita, who Asmakam Dhiyaha Dharmadi Gocharaha Prerayet. So, that Deva who may kindly Prerayet, incite or compel or lead our buddhis, our minds. In which way? Dharmadi Gocharaha Buddhihi Prerayet. May he lead our buddhi in such a way that it becomes Dharma Gochara, in such a way that it knows. Gochara means Pratyaksha. So, Dharma. That which knows Brahman direct, that which knows Dharma directly is Dharmadi Gochara Dhihi. A mind or an intellect that knows Dharma properly is Dharmadi Gochara Dhihi. So we are asking that Paramatma that in our life we be allowed to lead a dharmic life, that our mind is always filled with dharmic thoughts. In the higher sense, we are asking Paramatma to give us Chitta Shuddhi, to give us the purity of mind that is necessary for Brahma Vidya to be imbibed by the mind. And then, so therefore, that Parameshwara, that whom we pray to lead our buddhis, tad tasya yad bhargaha tad varenya upasmahe. And that tejas of that Paramatmas that exists, we meditate upon that illustrious tejas. That is the meaning of the Gayatri mantra. There is a very similar shloka that can also be told for those who are not in a position to do Gayatri mantra, or that who have not had Upanayana, that elders have told, that is in Sampradaya. The first shloka of Devi Bhagavata is also set to the Gayatri meter. It is also a Tripada, it also only has 3 lines, the way that the Vaidika Gayatri has 3 lines. That shloka also has 3 lines, and it more or less conveys the same meaning. And the first shloka there is Sarva Chaitanya Rupam Tam Adyam Vidyancha Dhimahi Buddhim Yanah Prachodayat. More or less the same thing, but this is a shloka. which means that it can be told by anyone, anywhere, in whatever case, regardless of the situation. So same thing, Sarva Chaitanya Rupam Tam Adyam Vidyam Dhimahi. Dhimahi means we meditate upon that Adya Vidya. That Vidya means Jnana, that primordial form of Jnana, that is Sarva Chaitanya Rupa. That is the form of each Chaitanya in each being. So whatever Chaitanya we find in any being, be it in a human, animal, plant, whatever, all those Chaitanyas are forms of that one very same Chaitanya. Adyam Vidyam Dhimai Buddhyam Yana Prachodayat. And she is the one whom we ask that may she lead our mind in a dharmic path. So after doing the Gayatri Japa, remember this is in the sequence of pranayama. So we have done Puraka with the Vyahritis. We have done Kumbhaka with the Gayatri Mantra, and now we are doing the Rechaka with the remaining Om Apo Jyotira Somritam Brahma Bhurbhavas Suvarvam. So Om, as we said, Om is Brahma. Apaha, all the waters that you find in this world, lakes, rivers, oceans. And then Jyotihi. Jyoti are all the fires, the tejas that you find. Stars, just normal fire. The sun, all of these luminaries that you have. All of those are Jyoti. Rasaha. Here they have written the Shad Rasas. So Tikta, Amla, sweet, sour, bitter, pungent. All those 6 that you eat on Yugadi. And also, by extension, all the qualities that objects have. So you have objects and you have all the qualities of objects that you have in this world. Amritam, so all the Svarga Sukhas that exist. So Amritam literally is the drink that the Devatas have in Svarga. But Amrita is used as an Upalakshana to describe all the Bhogas that exist in Svarga. So all of those, these are all Brahma. Amritam Brahma. Om Apo Jyotira Somritam Brahma. As well as Bhur Bhuvas Suvaha. These lokas also, the Bhurloka, Bhurloka, Suvarloka, these are all Brahma alone, which is why you have one Brahma before and one Brahma after. This part is called Gayatri Shiras. This is called the Shiro Mantra of Gayatri. This Om Apo Jyotira Somritam Brahma Bhuvas Suvaram is called the Gayatri Shiro Mantra. And after this, they have quoted one very nice shloka. Asya mantrasya pranayama amritvam amritanado upanishadi pratipadyate. So here Sayaracharya has quoted a line from Amritanada Upanishad, which says, Savyahritim sa pranavam gayatrim shirasa saha trif pathet ayata pranaha pranayama sa uchyate. So this is a verse that summarizes what should be done in pranayama. Savyahritim sa pranavam. So gayatrim pathet. You should tell Gayatri thrice. So this pranayama process is to be repeated 3 times. So Gayatri needs to be told. Before Gayatri, what needs to be told? Savyahritim sa pranavam. All the Vyahritis with pranavas. So Gayatri needs to be told with the Vyahritis and with pranavas. Om Bhuhu, Om Bhuva, all of that. Gayatri, and then in the end, Shirasa Saha. So as I said, the Shiro Mantra of Gayatri is Om Apo Jyotira Samritam Brahma Bhurbhavasuram. So along with this, Gayatri should be told. This process should be repeated 3 times. That is called pranayama. So for brahmacharis, what is being told is the Om Bhuhu, Om Bhuva, Om Subha, Om Maham Janaha, Om Satyam is during this part, air should be drawn in. Then you should arrest the air inside. So drawing the air in is called Puraka. Arresting the air inside is called Kumbhaka. So the is the Kumbhaka, and then the Rechaka. Then as long as after you have held the breath for this long, you need to let it out. Om Apo Jyotira Somritam Brahma Bhurbhavas Suvarvam. So while telling this, air needs to be let out the whole way. And the sampradaya is, because you would have held the breath for some period of time, you should not let it out in one big exhalation. The breath that you let out should be steady and measured throughout, the same way that as you draw in air, it should not be one big gulp and a gasp of air. Air should be drawn in steadily at the same flow rate throughout, and also released at the same flow rate throughout. This should be repeated thrice, and that is the Gayatri Mantra. So thus we have looked at the Gayatri Avahana in this session, and we have also looked at the Gayatri Mantra. So with this we will stop. If Parameshwara permits and if we have the chance, we will meet once again to talk about the Upasthana Mantras in another episode. Ityesha Vangmaye Puja Srimad Shankarapadayor Arpita Tena Devesha Priyatam Me Sadashivah Tava Tattvan Janami Kidrisha